Welcome to another edition of Almost Martha. And it is hot today, really not good to be outside. So I thought I would just spend some time and make a little bread. So why not? I want to make a nice sort of eggy braided loaf with lots of good stuff in it, and we'll have it for dinner tonight. So it doesn't take that long, it only takes a couple of hours. I have plenty of time. You do too. So you stick with me and we will make a fabulous bread that you can share with family and friends. So hold on, here we go. So sometimes you just have a crazy wild hair to do something, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. And I've made bread before, but I found this great recipe. It came in this bread magazine from Better Homes and Gardens. And I'm going to make a few little adjustments to it, but it looks like a really easy basic bread. You don't have to be afraid to make. So I thought we would do that together. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have about 4 cups of flour. It says anywhere between 3.5 and 4 cups. But right now we're starting with 4 cups, and we are supposed to put 2 cups inside the bowl right here. So I'm just going to empty this out so we get it down to 2 cups. A little more, a little more, a little more. Okay. Okay, that's good. Perfect. So 2 cups of flour, and I have my yeast package. Make sure that your yeast is new. If it's been sitting around in your cabinet a long time, may not, make your bread rise. So I have some brand new Fleischmann's yeast, and I'm going to sprinkle that on the flour. It's about 2.5, teaspoons if you are putting a couple of packets together. So the equivalent of 1 pack. Just gonna up a little bit. Okay. All right, so now we're going to set that aside. I have a saucepan. In the saucepan, I'm going to put 2/3 cup of milk. This is whole milk. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar. Takes a lot of sugar for bread. And I have 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and that goes into the milk mixture. And the overall recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of butter. So we're going to put 2 of those tablespoons right in this mixture. And now I'm going to put this on the stove. And all I have to do is get it to warm to about 120 degrees. And then we're going to mix this into our bread mixture. So be right back. I have my milk at the proper temperature. This is the milk, the butter, the sugar, the salt. And they do give you that range, 120 to 130. They want it has to be warm enough, but it can't be so hot that it's going to kill the yeast. So if you don't have a temperature, you have to do your best guess, but try not to get it too hot, because that could cause problems down the line. Okay, the next thing we need to do, I have 3 eggs lightly beaten. We're going to add that to the flour mixture. So now I'm going to have a sort of a very wet dough because I've only got that 2 cups of flour in there. So we get our egg worked in. We're going to start to add some of the other flour. And we're going to keep adding flour until we get something close to a dough that we can handle, right? It'll still be a little tacky, but a little tacky. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. When I used to hear stories about my grandparents, the Shepherds. They loved a good party. They loved to play cards. They loved, to have friends over. And they used to have tacky parties. So people would just show up wearing terrible clothes, all tacky. And that was just one of the things that they did for fun. You know, the time that they were around, times were pretty tough. So they were pretty creative in keeping fun going. They sure were fun grandparents, I'll have to say. We played many a card game. Many a card game. Okay, I think we're getting there. Might not require all of that flour. The recipe actually said for 3.5 to 4 cups. And you can decide when you think you've got enough. And I think I pretty much got enough. So that's good. Maybe just a tad more. Because we're also going to be rolling it out on flour. So that will add more flour to the mixture. So, okay. I think we're good. I think we're good. So, phase 1 is complete. We have our dough. And now I'm just going to take this nice bit of flour on the surface here. And I'm going to take my dough, put it on the, let's see, we don't want to waste any of this. Okay. So it is very tacky, right? It's going to stick to your fingers, but we were warned about that. So now we are going to incorporate a little more flour into this dough just by virtue of kneading it on a floured surface. So we don't want to overdo it, but okay, I think we have a good ball of dough. So beautiful. Beautiful. There we go. Now, I'm going to wash this bowl and I'll be right back. All right, I have a nice clean glass bowl. I'm going to take a little olive oil and I'm just going to put it in the bottom of the bowl. Now I'm going to take my bread and I'm going to put it in the bowl. I'm going to turn it over because we want it oiled on both sides. So we have now successfully oiled our bread on both sides. And now, I love the way olive oil smells. It just smells so good. Okay, so now we're going to let this bread rise. So I'm going to put a little tea towel over it, and we're going to put this somewhere where it's a little warmer, so maybe not in the direct air conditioning line. And we're going to let this rise for 1 hour. All right, so my bread is rising. I just took a peek at it and coming along. It needs about 30 more minutes. So I went out to the garden to get some great things to add to my bread. So I have fresh basil, run it through the salad spinner. I also have some really wonderful lemon thyme. Oh, I also have some fresh oregano I went out and picked. So we're going to start assembling sort of the flavor factor here. Remember the remaining butter? We had about, I think, 4 tablespoons of butter left. So I'm just going to put that in a bowl. And we're going to start with about 1 tablespoon of the oregano. That's about right. About 1.5 tablespoons of that wonderful lemon thyme. It's my favorite spice, really. Love it. Favorite little herb. Okay, I'm just gonna start to put that in. I also have, I use shredded Parmesan, so I have about 1/3 of a cup of shredded Parmesan. Now, in this mixture, you can start to add different things that you like. If you like sun-dried tomatoes, like olives, I think olives would be great. So I'm going to do olives instead of sun-dried tomatoes. And I need about half a cup, a little more than half a cup, okay, of basil. So we'll just give that a quick chop. I changed out my cutting board because I'm also gonna, I reserved the floured cutting board. I'm gonna need that again. So I'm just using a little one to do some herb chopping. Now, finely chopped. You know, a lot of times I'll tell you not to chop basil. That's better if you hand tear it, and I'm sure that's true, but this purpose really needs it to be finely chopped, so that's what we're going to do. It also calls for about 3 cloves of garlic, grated, but I really love roasted garlic. You know, it's a bit softer on the garlic flavor. So I have some pieces of roasted garlic. I'm going to chop and sort of mash that down and then add it to the butter. Okay, there we go. You know, I'm going to tell a story about my mother. Hi, Mom. So when I was growing up in the South, the only spices we had in our kitchen were salt and pepper. That was it. Not a fan of garlic, my mother. So at the first time I ever had something like lasagna, it was, you know, I think it was like 13 at Aunt Jean's house. Yes, even in the deeper South, she knew about garlic and Italian food, but we really didn't. It's okay, Mom. Your fried chicken more than made up for it. Yep. Okay. Gonna add this freshly chopped basil right to the bowl. So here are those cloves of roasted garlic, and really they're gonna mash up. So I'm gonna mash this up, chop it up, see how finely I can get it. And I'm gonna add that to the mixture. Gives a really sort of nice, soft kind of garlic feel. Just gonna smash it all now. Nice and pliable. Make a nice paste within the butter mixture. Okay. Love that roasted garlic. Okay, so now we have a nice little butter paste going here. So that's good. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, and this is sort of freestyle. This is freestyle. But I did want to add some olives instead of sun-dried tomatoes, so we're going to go with olives. Gives a really nice kind of salty, briny-ness to the bread. I love olive bread. Love olive bread. And when I have a bagel, I love olive cream cheese on the bagel too. So really enhances it. Okay, that's good. It's a little wet, so I'm gonna just sort of drain this a little bit. Doesn't add a lot of water. We definitely don't want that to go on top of our bread. A little more, a little more. Little more. Okay. We're going to have a nice little. There we go. Now just little bits of olive will be throughout this bread. Okay. Gonna be good. Gonna be good. Okay. Now we just have to wait for the bread to rise. We've reached another milestone. So our bread has risen. Hallelujah. It's always very nice to see when your bread has risen. So we have a nice big bowl of bread. It has about doubled in size. So now I'm gonna take it out, put it back onto my lightly floured surface. And I'm gonna roll it just a little bit. I'm gonna knead it just a little bit. Sort of punch that down. Okay. And now, okay, we're good to go. I'm gonna cover this with my little towel. And now we're just gonna let the dough rest for 10 minutes and then we'll be right back. All right, here we are. So the dough has rested a little bit, so that's good. Because we're gonna put it to work. So it needed to rest just a little bit. Okay. So now we need to roll this dough out into a rectangle. So you need a nice big, look how it's stretching. That's all that yeast in there. It's great. That's great. When it smells good too. Nice and yeasty. Okay. So don't be afraid. We're just gonna roll this puppy, but we need it in a rectangle, not a circle. So as you're working the dough, just kind of work it into the pattern that you need it to be. Okay. All right. All right. I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty nice rectangle. All right. Now we're going to take our mixture and we're going to pick a side here because on one side, we're going to leave about 1 inch of dough without this mixture being on it. Okay. So let's spread it out. Nothing like some buttery, garlicky, herby smell. It smells so good. Okay. So on one side, we're going to leave about 1 inch without this mixture. Okay, it's starting to snap back on this side a little bit, so if we can pull it, we need our rectangle. Okay. All right. Okay. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. I love bread. I love bread. It's like the best thing ever. Okay. That's good. I'm going to get the rest of this. Okay. Perfect. Now we're going to take the side where we've taken the filling all the way to the end, and we're going to roll it up. You need to stretch that dough a little. Don't be afraid. Just stretch it a little bit. Okay. We're going to roll it. Roll it. Okay. I'm going to need to stretch on this end too a little bit. Get that nice rectangle. Keeps wanting to snap back. That's good. That's good. Okay. Let's roll. Now we're going to take this end that does not have the filling, right? And we're going to pinch it into, make sure you can see this. We're going to pinch it into the dough. We just want a nice sort of seam here. It doesn't have to hold long. Okay. Okay. All right, that's great. Now we're going to do something crazy. We're going to do something crazy. We are going to take our knife And we are going to cut this in half, long ways, okay? So we're right along that seam where we were pinching everything together. Okay. All right. Ready? We are now going to braid this. It's not like a traditional braid. You don't have 3 pieces. You just have 2. But we are going to braid this. Okay. And put our little ends together. Okay. So look how cool that looks. Now we're going to take one end and we're going to pull it over to make, sort of like an S. And we're going to do the same thing with this end and pull it over and just tuck it into this other S. Okay? So there we sort of have like this little love knot. How cool is that? This is going to be so good, and so pretty, Okay, now I'm going to get a spatula to move this. I have my trusty parchment paper. Okay, and this is where it is. It's like a little love knot in a sense. I'm going to make sure everything is still together. And now we are going to cover this and we are going to let it rise 45 more minutes, okay? So get your trusty tea towel and put it right on top. Put it somewhere away from drafts, a little warm, and we're going to hope that this, almost doubles in size. We'll see. Crossing fingers. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, it rose really nicely. It does look like it has a little bit of a hump, on the side over here. But, oh man, I'm very excited. Okay, so the oven is on 375 degrees. I did titch it a little bit lower for my oven because it's fan assisted. It's going to bake for 30 minutes. I can't wait. Okay, fantastic. I'll tell you, see you in a minute. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at that, it's so exciting. Oh my God, that's great. That is really great. All right, I'm gonna lift it and let it cool on the rack. And then 2 more things we need to do to this bread while it's still warm. Okay, so as a little finishing touch, you can just sort of brush the top with butter so it has that nice sort of glossy look. Oh man, this looks awesome. Awesome sauce. Okay. Wow, man, that is super cool. It's like the Kraken. Release the Kraken. Okay. All right, so that was probably 2 tablespoons of butter that I've just brushed on the top. And they also said if you would like, you could actually sprinkle just a little more Parmesan cheese on top. So I've got some nice sort of pieces of Parmesan here. I call this my glamour cheese. So when I put it on a salad or something, this is the glamour cheese. And I bought this already shaved, but when I do have a brick of Parmesan and I shave it myself, of course, it's better. So there you go. Final thing I'm going to do is sprinkle a little parsley on top, and it is just gorgeous. Gorgeous. So I hope you make it. And to find this recipe, you can go to almost-martha.com. And wow, so exciting. So exciting. So I'm going to do a final little sprinkle of parsley. It's going to be done. And then after it cools down a little bit, I'm going to give it a taste. But so there might be a little tag to this episode as I talk about how terrific this bread is. But go to almost-martha.com for this recipe and all the recipes you've done. And we will see you next time right here on Almost Martha. Oh, that's so great.